Kia ora from Aotearoa. Well, how's it going, everybody? Breaking out of the matrix, because it's intense for me. It's hard work. The programming has been pretty vicious, and it's step by step moving out. But I wanted to talk a little bit about the mass MK Ultra. Okay, well, this is mind control programming before MK Ultra, before the 40s even, for the longest time, for hundreds and thousands of years really, since the whole separation of our consciousness with the source consciousness, which so many of us are now finding our way back to this consciousness, which is just the answer to everything. It is the guidance, even though what we may be going through will be extremely intense, because it's going to bring up all the fears that were programmed in there for the first place. So lots was being programmed into humanity, especially right now. It's the whole notion of loss, of, just simply go and fall back into your cage and be controlled kind of thing. Yet, through nature, through source connection, it's all rising up and shaking off and out also through our consciousness, because we do it with nature, who is also overlaid and who is also taken. And one of these methods of the taking was with the technology of the AI, which includes frequencies, light codes, tones, numerical patterning, geometries, disharmonic patterns, all sorts of things, which extraterrestrials are quite familiar with. So things got put in place long ago for this whole enslavement, where so much destruction is coming out, and it feels very heavy and very dense for so many people, because everybody's actually getting confronted now with what has happened at the base levels of their governments. Beyond their governments is where it really happened. Anybody that you see in public is only a puppet of those who really control from behind the scenes, that you'll never see or you'll never know unless you've been in rituals with some of these people or whatever, So it's actually survivors that have been disclosing it. I want to say, it's been the taking of our consciousness and mind control that has actually done most of the damage, which has caught us into a slavery thing. The way that I feel it, the way that I see it, is that we've been pulled off into a containment area, and nothing that we see or know, including the sun, the stars, and everything, is as we have been told. We would actually know more about it if we meditate and go into ourselves and we see from that space, then we actually know more. And that's also about being connected with the Creator and being connected with the creation. So therefore, everything that would come out of us if we were in connection would be pure, if it hadn't been programmed, interfered with, and all of that. So we are actually undoing a heck of a lot of the programming. Some things have become very clear to me. It's Easter. It's one of the hardest times of the year for me. As a survivor, I feel like some of the cruelest rituals were done at this time of year, and that they have held consciousness in slavery. One of the things that I'm really noticing at the moment, and it's programmed into people across the board, but quite severely into MK Ultra, is that you'll never get free, is that you'll get shown all of these, oh yes, you're going to get free, this is going to save you, this is going to happen, and this is going to come, and then you'll be slammed down into even a worse situation, which gives the message that you'll never get free. And this is something that I am seeking to break free of, to have a breakthrough on, because it just feels that I've been there, and I'm really struggling to keep carrying on in a lot of ways, because the relief has not come. It's not here yet. And I do believe that it will only come when it's there for everyone now. As a hyper empath, and many of the survivors are, we feel everything. We feel the pain of everything. So we won't even be happy or relieved or finding freedom until the whole thing lets go. And this is about the full reconnection with Source again, Source in nature, which is actually happening, and it's really blowing the system up, and it's imploding it, and it's doing all kinds of things, and it takes so much courage and so much faith to hang in there and just keep taking the next breath, keep being in the now. Nature will soothe and calm. I think it's the only thing that I feel that I feel is really on my side. There still isn't a great deal of social support or comprehension, understanding at the moment, but then again I have been too unwell for so long to get out and participate, and then you want to go out and you do want to participate, and then you're not well, and then the person gives up on you, or people cannot really fathom the intensity of this whole thing. But so it is our consciousness, it is our belief system which sets us free. And this is why, regardless of a person's belief system, if they really believe in something, they can see results. And that people find things in different religions, and there's nothing wrong with that if it's bringing that kind of result, especially when the God that people are connected to is the actual creator God, is the actual source God. It's just that it wasn't designed that way. The biggest playbook, the biggest handbook was written thousands of years ago, and it has been played out. Armageddon, they've been trying to do that, but we're actually reclaiming our consciousness, and it's not going to go the whole way. That's a very confident part of me that is saying that, and then there's other parts in my system that are just saying, oh, it's all so hopeless, I just want to give up. So I have to hold the system tenderly. But I did take a few notes as to how things are. One thing that I want to say, which I feel is very powerful, I actually heard this from a woman that had a near-death experience. When people go into their near-death experience, they actually remember and see and know, and things can be much more real than the life that they've been living here. And so much of the life that we've been living here, we've been living in amnesia. Like, we forgot who we were before we came here. We forgot our power. We forgot so much that we sort of become very disabled and lost so much of our gifts that it's quite a big deal to reclaim them and get them back. But one of the things, the whole time I was growing up, there was religious enforcement everywhere. So I came from a non-Christian family. My father was an atheist. My mother had been connected up to the Anglican Church. Actually, I want to say something. My father's sister she became a nun in the Anglican Church, and she was called a Mother Superior, and she kept right away from all family. Like, I never met her. She was in England. But I've been having some problem with my heart, and someone sort of said, this is something intergenerational, this is something to do with your family. And when I looked in to see what is this pressure, this heaviness, this hold that's on my heart, I went back to this auntie who I've never met, and I ended up talking to her in her spirit, and she was very, very like curled into a ball almost, withdrawn, and she had died many years ago, so she wasn't in a very good state at all where she was when I saw her. And I asked her, you know, what happened, what's going on, and there was kind of like a confession that she was involved in trafficking children. Now, this is actually quite hard to speak because it's still a little bit raw in me. And I was like, oh my gosh. And then she was explaining that she was hurt and harmed and programmed while she was a child. You know, so she would have been born in the 1920s, you know, gone through the war and all of that. And she was broken, and her heart had been broken, and she was just in this terrible, terrible state. Probably a state of guilt, a state of, like, apparently when you die you have a kind of a life review and you see what you've done, and anyway it must have all just been way, way, way too much for her, and she was totally caught there, and it was just so painful, so painful where she was at, that I was crying, and I was just like, it wasn't your fault, Auntie, it wasn't your fault, because I know that it was never my fault that I was programmed. I know that it was never my parents' fault that they was programmed. I know that it wasn't the fault that we couldn't be the happy family that we each desired would have been something. We all desire to have happy families, to have children that we nurture and keep safe. But when there's programming coming into it, you can't. Now, there's, you know, and then it just made me realise that so many people have been programmed, so many, you know, like some exposure, people are being called out at the moment, and they've been programmed, and they've been doing these wicked things, these terrible things. And it's like, it's almost like the mind, the brain is programmed, and this was the hold in our absence of connection with Source. This is what was being done. And so we're in a big state, all of humanity, and I think we're going to need a lot of compassion and care to let go, because it's honestly, when people get to the other side and they realise what they do, it's just terrible. And I don't, you know, like, my life's been so hard and so hellish, and I've been through so much, and I don't wish it upon anyone or anything. Like, we are all connected, and we are all finding our way out of this together, and I know that we only come out with love. And it was only that I felt that I could reach in, and that I could just be that love with my auntie in that moment, that she could actually, I don't know what her journey is from now, but she will be getting set free. And one of the ways I just want to mention it is so much is tied up in belief. Like, this was religion. This is where a lot of child trafficking has happened. And I've got to say that when I look back and I see where has the Bible been used the most, I believe that it's actually the ones that are the Freemasons, that are Satanists, that are, you know, like when I was a child, we were all given the Bible at school. We all had to sing God Save the Queen. We all had to sing God of Nations at Thy Feet, which was the New Zealand national anthem. And we were punished if we did not. We were all given Bibles. We all had school assemblies. We all had to take part. We were punished for not singing. Every single census, people need to know what's your religion, because religion is one of the holding ways. This is where people actually miss the true creator and go to outside sources. Like, you go to find Jesus. Okay, well, no, you actually need to look inside. Look inside. You don't go outside. As soon as you go outside, your energy goes outside, and you're a siphonable vessel. Yeah. And even, you know, it's just what came up is that my ex-husband, used to get these newsletters. They were like from the British Israel Society or something. I don't know what they were called, but I saw them every now and then. I was really horrified because these people thought they were the chosen ones. They thought they were the people of God, and these are the people now that are having the hold over everyone, and they're using their Bible and doing all sorts of stuff and raiding countries and creating war. And the Bible has very much been, so much is about war. It's always about good and evil. It's always about one side playing the other. But it's actually, I believe that it's actually, when we have enough compassion and love to know the whole big picture, to see the whole big thing, that's when people can get set free. And, you know, like I remember also, I've just seen it before, where I had visions of a village in Vietnam that was raided in the Vietnam War, and all the women and children were killed and raped, and when they were on the other side, it was incredible, the grace and forgiveness that they held in their hearts. Like, it was unfathomable, and there's something in this. But at this time, you know, like, it's just so religious. So you've got people on two sides, in a sense, you know, worshipping. Some are worshipping the blood, the sacrifice, and others are worshipping the new birth and the springing up and all of that. I don't worship anything personally, but I have so much appreciation for nature. But, you know, like, I have that in the moment. I don't have to celebrate that because it's this date and you have to do it then, you know. This is one of the traps, and that they've trapped us with time and dimensions, or time and space. So, yeah, we are finding our way with it. But, you know, like, if you do believe the Bible and you do believe in all of that, you know, well, USA, you know, look out, because you'll be bombed. It says that in Ezekiel 38, and I don't want that to happen. You know, the nuclear war, we need to change our confidence and get it away and go to the true source creator, and not this punitive God that actually is all about death and taxes and energy grabbing and stealing and hostility. So, you know, we can, you know, with this Easter, it's almost like my internal system has just been going through so much. And, you know, I've felt rage, you know that you have to swear oaths on the Bible to tell the truth and the whole truth in courts. Do you know what the court system is? It's a satanic Freemason court system, and they want you to put your hand on the Bible. And I remember also that I was getting some papers signed for something. The Justice of the Peace was a Mason, and he wanted me to do that swearing on the Masonic Bible. Yeah, so Freemasons and Christian missionaries, they arrived here in this country at the same time, and the churches were built on the ley lines, and ley means law, and the lodges, and overlaying the earth, you know, creating external belief system patterns, you know. And you know, another thing that I've really come to see is that, you know, when they used us in rituals, it was like you would literally see almost like entities manifest, and some people would call these demons, but, you know, we could call these thought forms. I have seen how horrifying thought forms cause things, because every thought creates something. So they've done that. So by creating more and more enrage within us, you know, and getting us to fight against each other, they just keep creating more and more of the same. And you know, this is still, you know, like, calling things satanic is very loaded as well, because it goes back all to a religion, but really it's the harnessing of the belief system, and, you know, it's even written into computer language with the daemons and all of that. And we have been very much living with artificial intelligence for a very long time. An ancient AI which has created the hive mind that people can actually donate their consciousness to, for exchanging it for wealth and power. And then they become part of that hive mind, which is part of that machinery, which is what is breaking down now. And also why there's partly a chaos, and it has to happen. But yeah, so creating religions was just one of the biggest jobs. We have our experience, we have our body, we have our mind, we have our soul. Everything can be found and known within that, and we can share, and we are all related to one another. Like, we're all, like, if there's a divine spark of life, each one of us has it, unless it's been sold out. And so, really, it's about really loving one another and coming together, and I am so grateful for people and where their belief systems have pulled them through, and mine pulled me through. It might not have been a correct belief, but it pulled me through because I totally believed it, and at different times. But it's a very difficult time for everybody, and the greatest thing we can do is to pour that love onto ourselves too. And especially the hurt and wounded little parts of us that went through such terrible torture, and mind control. Like, if you've been to school, you've been to mind controlled. If you listen to the radio, you've had mind control. Like, anything that has come in from our external world and said, this is how it is and this is how you have to believe it, especially when they punish you. It's amazing, and scriptures and Bibles and words and chants and mantras and codes and lights and frequencies, they use them all to do that mind control. And it's only when we really go inside and we start to see who we really are, and at times we will feel that pure creator love, and that that is what is true. We'll constantly be looking for things on the outside, because that's what they kind of trained us to do. Yeah, so healing this, going through all our fears, going through all our emotions, breathing it through, healing the last of this, undoing all our programming, loving ourselves, and there's one particular thing I want to leave people with. I don't know if I said it, but this was the woman that I was talking about before, who had the near-death experience, and she had this thing to say, and I do think that it's very powerful, and it is, I revoke any contracts or agreements I made under amnesia. Okay, because that's anything that's been made under mind control. When we lost our mind to something else or someone else. So I revoke any contracts or agreements I made under amnesia. If we all were to apply this, it would be good. I revoke any contracts or agreements I made under amnesia. One more time. I revoke any contracts or agreements I made under amnesia. And the other thing that I want to say is that there are a lot of people that do a lot of disclosure out there, and some people are double agents because that's part of that religion, that Freemasonic or Illuminati type religion, is that they have to disclose everything and say everything. So you have people that come out and they disclose everything down to a T, and it's all true, and then the part where people are not getting is that we actually have to say, I do not consent. I do not consent to this plan. And I do not consent to the Bible plan in Revelations either. Yeah. I just am one with the Creator and one with creation, and that's all, and that's enough. And anything that comes in on my soul stream from within me, but not outside of me. So it's so important to be able to come to know ourselves and to deprogram ourselves fully. Yeah, so it's been tough, it is rough, and we are cutting through this sort of thing. You know, there's still that part of me that feels like the rug's just getting pulled out from under my feet and I can't do this any longer and I don't want to do it anymore. And I know that other people are feeling a bit like that, so this is the way I want to say it. And I just want to, I just know that there's the one big hope is that we are again becoming aware of Source, and that Source is showing us the way and guiding us the way. This is the Creator, which is within each and any one of us. It doesn't matter what religion we hold, what name tag we want to give ourselves, whether we're a Christian, a Buddhist, a atheist, anything. Some things just are. And if we were just finding ourselves in nature and being in nature, if nature had not been overloud and all these interventions hadn't happened, we would be fine. So we will be fine. It will come, because we are here to clear all of this up. And this time it's going to work. This time it's not going to be another great big reset, as much as the extraterrestrial races have believed that. And when I say that we love, it doesn't mean, oh, nice, la 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 feelings. This is like having the honest conversations. This is talking it through. Like, I feel like the conversation that I had with my auntie was a loving conversation where she could actually come out and feel more freedom, and that was some intergenerational healing that was done. And I actually did ask for a very valid confirmation that it would be done. I actually asked that the sister who's been named after that auntie would connect with me, and we are not in connection because I pushed my family out because I find them all dangerous and very controlled. But she just happened to send me just one photo within minutes after I put out that little request for that sign. So I think that was pretty cool. And sometimes I need a little bit extra sign because the programming has been utterly cruel, and it is on everybody. And please, like, let's know that there is a way with the Creator, with the true Creator who lives inside of us, and where all equality and equanimity is available. When we get back to that way, when we grow back into it, because we make those moves, we do it, there won't be any more need for money anymore. It's an extraterrestrial tool. We won't need it anymore, and it will come. So if you see things wobbling, if you see the finances going down there, we don't need to be concerned. I mean, we've only ever known life with it, but there's a much better life without it somewhere. I've kind of seen it at different times. I'm just like trying to pull my reality together so that I'm not going out there ungrounded, that I'm staying very grounded with this knowing too. So much love to you all.